Okay, I believe they can hear us. If they can't, we're gonna blame Bearded.
I blame Joker.
I blame Bearded, even if...
Bro, I'm with you. Let's just blame Joker. I'm okay with that. If y'all don't know who Joker is, it's okay.
It's his UK situation. And here indeed. All right. See, then you can blame me. If you can hear us, it's...
Oh, Jelly blames me. Had to be Jelly. Miss you, Jelly, bro.
I blame Windu. Jelly.
Yo, but what is up, everyone? Welcome to this week's episode of the Predcast. If you don't know what the Predcast is, basically it is a weekly podcast where we go over Predecessor news, updates, general topics and stuff. We try to keep it as oriented to Predecessor as possible. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and do our quick little introductions. If we could go in this specific order, if we could do Peppy, Joe, Bearded, and then myself. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you got going on, and we'll go from there. Go for it.
All right. Hi, I'm the guest today. I'm Feppy. I'm a former professional Pokemon Unite player turned content creator and coach. I also play Predecessor a little bit. You guys might know me from Team TOS. I was the support player for that team for a little bit before they disbanded. And currently seeing if I can find a way back into the scene. We'll see how that goes. See if I can find a team to play for.
All right.
I see.
Windu's an ADC that needs the support, so then he can stop crying.
We'll talk about it. Go ahead, Joe.
Hi, everyone. This is Joey Shirley. I'm just a president content creator on YouTube. I upload daily videos, and I occasionally kind of live stream over there. So I'm pretty sure you guys already kind of know me, so I'll just kind of pass it on up already.
All right. What's going on, buddy? Right. It's the beautiful review, your Michigan Wonder, and I'm ready to bring this Fepisode to you guys because we got Feppy here as our guest. I love it. I'm excited. We got a lot to go over. Fucking roadmap season 2, all about that. And internal testers, a little more thing to go talk about too when we get further on. So let's just get into this after Windu talks about himself a little bit.
Bro, I'm not even going to talk about myself that much. I'm just going to say Feppy and Joe got better backgrounds than Bearded. Changed my mind.
No, you're just jealous because my team is better than yours.
Oh, I'm not going to talk about Florida. Anyway, there's a new Netflix show called Florida Man. That shit stunned me. But what's up, guys? I am Windu, also known as Windu the Mace. I do mainly Predecessor content as far as my YouTube gaming channel goes. A little bit of strategy, a little bit of racing here and there. I'm about to get into a Street Fighter life. But all in all, mainly play Predecessor, and that leads us here to the Predcast. If you guys are watching this live on Twitch, thank you so much. If you guys are watching this after the fact on YouTube, we really appreciate it. Leave a like. But yeah, let's let me do this. I know you're pretty much gonna take it away.
While you're doing that, I want to make an announcement real quick. I want to make sure let you guys know that it is official. All right, 3 of us here are full-time hosts. All right. We brought on Joe, yours truly, as an official full-time host for the Predcast. So you guys will see him as often as we can get him out here.
GG Joe in the chat.
GG Joe for sure. All right. Excited to have you here. Thank you for accepting the offer. Can't wait to grow this show even more with you. It's going to be great.
I'm still stuck calling you Joey, but much love, bro.
He likes Joey. He prefers Joey.
I like Joey. Yeah, I like Joey.
Oh, okay. All right. I switched to Joe because I heard Bearded calling you Joe. I was like, oh, my bad. I guess I've been fucking up.
It's because I trained myself to say Joe because I looked at his name like, oh, that's Joe, yours truly, not Joey, ours truly. I trained myself to say it. Now I'm trying to get myself to say Joey.
It's okay. He's originally from Florida. You could tell. Look at him. Anyway, so really quick, I wanted to just give a quick little shout out to Omeda because I don't know why, but I feel like some of the best videos that they make are the ones where Robbie ends up talking, RGS Ace. And for some reason, homeboy's just sitting there explaining, but just like the overall organization of everything, the teasing of the little skin, we'll go into it and I'll pull it full screen while we chat here. But I gotta give him kudos. Like, I genuinely really enjoy these videos quite a bit. What do you guys think about those?
I personally love it. I think it gives you that that ability to just kind of relate to the developer founder, you know, like you're getting to know them. Like, it's not like you're just reading words from them, you know, like you're actually listening to them and talk, and they're like explaining things to you. Like more personable, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I like it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the more successful games tend to have development teams that are really in tune with their community. So anytime I see any of this sort of outreach, it just makes me happy. Like, whether or not, like, you know, all the interactions are perfect or not perfect, like, who cares? Like, the fact that they're going out and they're putting out the effort consistently, that makes me happy. And it makes me feel like the scene is just so healthy overall, even before the game even launches.
Drew, what about you, Joe? Joe? I'm so fucked up on that.
I just think, yeah, I just don't have. Well, like you guys pretty much touch on all this stuff, but I just really like seeing just face personality on screen kind of thing, because I think it just really shows they're actively developing the game kind of thing. So I mean, seeing some early access where you just hear nothing from devs for months on end kind of thing, and I think it's really nice that in this early access for this kind of mobile, we're getting constant like news updates and just talk from devs on what's going on with the game, and that just shows there's some healthy development going on for early access.
Now, Joey, do you think they should do more YouTube videos like this as opposed to blogs? Well, let me not say as opposed to, let me say next to, because of course we got our blog post, right? But that might go into more detail. But do you think that even every either major or kind of major of a patch, they should make a cool little YouTube video, even if it's not RGSA himself?
Yeah,
it's a little bit more shareable.
I think over time, I would like to see more of the YouTube kind of stuff being used. I kind of assume with early access kind of being the thing, they're just kind of a little bit more on the minimum side marketing, just focusing on development. And once they get the kind of marketing team together, start to kind of ramp up the advertising and kind of pushing the game out to the public, I think that's when we should hopefully see a lot more of that YouTube channel, more of those videos being put out often, instead of just being every like 4 months at the end of the season.
I think one way they can do it, you know, to add that little more personable approach to it, is those videos you get with the new hero, that explaining their kit and stuff like that. With Nabori is the one, you know, is the voice going over that. Have it be like Nabori sitting there talking to the camera and like, hey, I want to show you this guys today. And then then you do a transition, and then it can show the gameplay, and then he's still talking over the gameplay. But you already got to know the person you're talking to, the narrator. You get to see the narrator, you know, and then it goes into that. I think that'd be a good way to do that.
I agree.
All right.
Plus, you get to see Nabori's sexy face then too. You know, it's always good for that, right?
I can't, bro. Yo, Peppy, hold on. So technically, Bellic is a support, right? Technically, can be. Technically.
Sure. Okay, sure.
What do you think about that Bellic skin that they tease in there, bro? What do you think about that?
So good. It's so good. I don't know if that skin was originally in Paragon. Like I've mentioned a bunch of times, I never played the original Paragon games. If that's an original skin too, like, whew, like I'm excited if that's a completely original skin. Even if it's not, like, it looks so good. I'm happy. Like, I hope we get more like complete transformation sort of skins like that. It makes me like, it makes me hopeful for the game.
Transformation though.
Well, I mean, it's entire reskin, right? It's like a giant new, like it's a new suit, right? It's definitely a big change. It's not like
recolor. That's a recolor of her blue helmet skin. Is really what it comes down to.
Is it really?
Like there's a little bit.
It looks like a lot more to that than me.
No,
I was about to say, to me, it looks like her battle armor skin in red with animations. I could be wrong. It is interesting that they made that one what would that be? A tier 3 skin?
I don't know.
With animations?
Because this is like the first skin that's kind of like new VBX visual effects, right?
Yeah. The visual effects are great.
The visual effects are great, yeah.
The visual effects, I'm going to give them to that they did a good job on the visual effects. I like that. The skin itself, to me, I'm just not like, oh my gosh, this is great. It just like, okay, it looks like, because the Bellica has that one skin, it looks like she's got like a bike helmet on, but it's blue. That looks like it's that skin, but it's red now. That's what that looks like. It doesn't look like you went above and beyond. You really changed the skin out that much. It just looks like you grabbed that skin and changed the color on it, and you gave us visual effects. So visual effects, great. I'm not trying to downplay that at all, but the skin itself, I'm like, eh.
I mean, I get that, but I gotta say, I personally think that's a good take. It makes the work a little bit easier for them, right? Because they already have the character model there. And it's a unique enough character model that they can actually apply VFX for and take it to that next tier instead of just doing it to like a base skin, right? Like if they did Steel, the Aztec Steel, holy shit. If they did Aztec Steel, that's already a pre-made skin, but then they did their own custom new animations for it, I wouldn't be mad. Even if it's a previous skin, because it still changes the character model kind of like Feppy was saying there. And it's like half the work is done for them. I think that's kind of smart in the early stages as opposed to putting all the work, you know?
I'm perfectly fine with them adding, visual effects to previously already made skins. I'm not opposed to. It's just the fact that they're talking about this being a skin. Like this, here's a skin we got for you guys, and it's like that's really not the skin. It's the visual effects you added to the skin. Like that's a different situation. Like I kind of put them two different spots. Like that's when you
that
said
makes sense,
that,
we're in the tier that we know the difference, but to the average community member,
for
it might
Crashy
just
to come
be a
in
new
here,
skin.
for Crashy to come here, he doesn't know anything about that skin, so that's something completely new to him. He gets like the same thing, the same way Crashy reacted for the Chimera skin. When they just released like that one, he was all about
the blue skin, the blue tiger or whatever.
Yeah, he was all about it, and I watched that, and I could see like somebody who hasn't played Paragon how they could get excited for that. Like, okay, like that's who they're targeting with these, and that's fine. But I just think they need to do something for us, the people who know all of these skins. They need to do something for us as well and give us a little something that we can get excited about too.
I'm trying to see where this Jailer Murdock skin is at, bro. I don't know about you. I'm trying to get that Jailer Murdock they let us play with. What was that shit, like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago at this point? They let us play with Jailer Murdock, and you imagine if they came out with like brand new VFX on Jailer Murdock and shit, like actual like bear trap on the ground or some random shit. You get what I'm saying? Like that shit would be awesome. Bro.
Yes.
Now, is there anything specific that you guys want to hit as far as this video before we actually start breaking down stuff or getting deeper into the Matrix here?
What do you guys think of the kind of in progress new UI they're doing for like the home screen and all that?
Oh yes.
I had mixed feelings about it. I know it's mainly optimized for console, but I'll be honest with you, besides changing the color scheme, like I'll give an example, kind of like changing an overlay, right? I didn't necessarily see how it was too like crazy evolved for console. Like it basically seemed like the previous one would have done the same exact thing, just different visual. Like it just looked different. Well, does that make sense? This
one, the way it looks, I mean, it only shows you Gideon on it, but it looks like you got spots for all of your teammates to show up there too, a lot like Fortnite.
Okay, that's a fair point. I didn't even peep that.
Then you look like you could have, then you have like a group of people. Like maybe you get to pick whatever
your display character might be.
Your display character might be. You get to pick that, so there'll be a little more cool. Kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Customization.
Display skin too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like, that would be something I think would be cool. Fair. I think that would be awesome. I like that. I like how it shows you like what you're gonna have chat. You're gonna have menu chat right there in the main menu.
The system that you're on. That's dope.
And it shows you that was kind of a hint towards PlayStation there. I don't know. I'm liking.
Is that your friends list on the right? The column.
I don't know if it's the friends list.
Yeah, it looks like
it looks like because it's the symbol right there. That's the
right. That's like the little friend symbol.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely like the social tab. I'd imagine like you could probably expand it as well just to be able to see more. But
I see the Y at the bottom, so I'm kind of with you on that one. Interesting that they kind of like if you got only 5 friends online, you'll see all 5 friends pop up on the right side. Just like as a little reminder, maybe trying to incentivize team playing.
Now, I do notice that they're showing PlayStation right in the chat, and then everything in here. This is you're using an Xbox controller with this setup. Now, obviously, that could just be using an Xbox controller on PC. That doesn't mean that it's available for Xbox, or this is showing the Xbox UI. But
could that mean that? I mean, the person playing has an Xbox controller, right?
Right.
and then we see PS chat from different names, player name, player very long name, name very long. Could that be a global chat that we're looking at in the corner?
That's what I'm thinking. I think it's
not
global
people
chat.
in the lobby.
Yeah, I think it's global chat. Because there's nobody in their lobby with them, so I'm gonna say it's global chat. That's what I would say. So,
oh, you know what? Looking at that corner, did you guys peep that there's almost like a rank border around people? Like you see silver, and then you see two. What is that? Could that be bronze? Two bronze borders and one silver border on the player icons.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Too.
And then the one person with the claw, I'm assuming is the captain, since they have the crown.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Yeah, no, I'm liking it. I do want to point out something that I saw Jelly Knees point out in one of the Discords I'm in. If you look at the top right, you only see the platinum.
Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
And then in the we'll get to the roadmap. There's no, at the end of the roadmap, when you get the last time you maxed out at 50, right? You got 300 platinum for, so there's no way to earn currency as of right now. So that's the only currency so far they're showing in game. So, but they also said they're going to discuss on how to unlock heroes as we go.
Oh.
So I'm definitely interested to see how we're going to unlock heroes, since you're not going to be able to get free currency if you level up so far in the roadmap.
Oh, bro,
So
that's a
I'm
great
definitely
point.
intrigued to see what's going on there.
Damn,
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Overall, like I think it's pretty safe to say that this screen it's not exactly, oh my god, it's incredible, right? Like,
Right.
but I'm gonna be honest, I'm not loading into a game and expecting the main page like UI to be like busy and like fantastic and perfect, right? It just needs to be good enough that for every single platform, it's kind of the same. Like I can do whatever I need to do. I can go look at stuff easily. Transitions are smooth, not really laggy. Like as long as like all of those things are fine, and like I can pretty easily get to like, hit the play button to start the game. Like all of that looks very easy to do. It's like, I personally don't really care too much what it looks like. Like it's the main menu. Like I don't really think that matters too much. As long as it's functional enough and it looks good, then like, cool. I think this is perfectly fine. I'd much rather them spend a lot more resources in like, improving the game itself, or like, improving the functionality of the UI, but not necessarily like trying to make it look like the prettier or better. Really. I don't really care about that sort of stuff personally, but there's a lot of people that do. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, it's not meant to be anything. To me, I like the information that it gives me. Like I look at the screen, I'm able to see a bunch of this information. That's what I want from my screens. That's what I want from my UIs. Like I want information. So it gives me the information. Now, is it as beautiful and pizzazzy as it can be? No, it can get worked on. But again, we're still in early access, and they can still learn and create from this stuff. Like it just because they're bringing this out doesn't mean that they can't do more later on. So this isn't like, hey, this is what we got, guys. This is what we're gonna have for the rest of our lives. Like things can change, and we can go from there. Now, what we can do is we can give, once a game comes out with that UI, we can give enough and good feedback. Even we can start giving feedback now of that UI and giving them good information to things to work on, because maybe that UI will change. That's not going to be something that comes out because the UI is still being worked on.
Yeah, I'm expecting that UI is a work in progress, and that we're gonna hopefully see something a little bit more different once they kind of put that out. The only thing I'm kind of miss on this new UI compared to one we have is I like the dynamic background we have, like just seeing kind of turn menus kind of going in and whatnot. But at the same time, you look at the default like UI background they have, there's nothing to stop them from having. So have you have cosmetics for like profile icons and like the standard kind of stuff in their games? Could they do something like a cosmetic custom background you can choose, like a dynamic background you can choose from, kind of thing, from different locations and the Predecessor kind of lore? Yeah.
Speaking of dynamic background, could that also be something that they're doing to help lower on GPU like wear and tear, in a sense, like because you go to your main menu and all of a sudden your GPU just it's going crazy. Could going to something like the UI they're currently have without the minions, all that stuff running in the background, just make it better for a GPU that's not going to just all of a sudden spike out. For a lower end GPU situation, allow the. I get obviously your game is what you're going to try to say. Hey, this game can function on this GPU, right? But you don't want to go to a menu and all of a sudden just have it spike out.
See, but that makes sense specifically aiming towards console as well, right? Because we've all been there. Because they mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, PS5 and PS4, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we all know them PS4s are jet engines. We've all had one, right? We've all been there. Yeah, we've all been there. So
it's PS3, PS4's there. Sorry.
So that performance take that you have makes 100% sense as far as older generations like the PS4, while simultaneously I look at that UI and since you brought it up, it just screams Fortnite-esque, very party-oriented, like invite your friends sort of vibe, right?
Yep.
And that makes perfect sense. And if you look at it, and even the background being a little bit more on the bare side, right? That it just provides more contrast, because the background might look bare and simple. But if I got my, I don't know, let's say Wild Wild West Tier 4 Murdock skin that they're going to release or something out in the foreground, fuck the background. Look at my skin, bro. That shit looks dope.
This is a still, that circle thing in the back behind there, that could do some glowy, transition stuff. So there's stuff that can make it pop more. Again, it's not going to be anything fantastically amazing, but like you're saying, PS4 is a jet engine type situation. They did announce that this is going to be for the PS4 and PS5. So it's not even just going for the PS5, people that can PS5 that can handle 4K, whatever. This is going for
so
both,
they have to
even older consoles.
On the bottom end
so
as well.
Something's got to be optimized for the bottom end as well. So I think that's that could be a reason why they're going for a UI in this situation. But a dynamic, giving you the option if you do have the GPU. So I agree with you what you're saying, Joey. If you do have the GPU or the power to be able, a PS5 or whatever, to be able to, I want a more dynamic background, you could select that and you could change, hey, this is the dynamic background I have. I think that'd be a good thing to have. Might just add more to the download, but I think it'll be good.
I just like the idea of choosing your own different dynamic background, because like I said, we like the dynamic background we have currently, but imagine if there's a huge selection of different dynamic backgrounds you can purchase and kind of like show off on your stream. Like imagine you see in queue for like several minutes or whatever for whatever reason.
Yeah, like how PlayStation used to let you buy themes and backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah,
similar
exactly.
thing. You just kind of show off your own shit with your own design.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think like I said, it also kind of shows the creative direction of the world of Predecessor. So like imagine you can show up different locations within the lore of Predecessor. So I think that's a kind of cool way to go about it for that aspect.
Another thing that I'm noticing with this screen, look at the top right. You see your profile icon and your level, 99, right? But also where your name is at, you get to have your own customable banner or whatever, like you have on Call of Duty, so something like that would be there. You get to put, on a hero banner that you want.
Maybe kill banners are going to stop popping up. Like this person killed you, the banner shows up with the name.
Go, I want it.
Well, it might be like a UI banner, not a banner that stays on the field. You know what I mean? Like only you could see it because they killed you. I would be okay with that. Like a kill, like whenever you get killed on a kill cam. You see the player's banner, but nobody else can see that shit,
That'd be cool. That'd be another way. You could do both. I'm okay with both. Let's do it. More customization.
That'd be so much fun as a support, man. It's just like, haha, you just got killed by the support.
Fucking FaZe blowing a kiss at you or some bullshit. Get me the fuck out.
That'd be so good.
But yeah, I still think this is good. Like regardless if it may not be the most appealing to me, I like the fact that there's some sort of progress or change being done, right? Like if they decided a year from now to give us a new map, I might not love the map, but I like that there is a new map being created, that attempts to innovate, change, keep it spicy is happening. Because honestly, I hate when shit gets stagnant, bro. Like I absolutely hate that shit. Just looking at the same exact menu for like 3-4 months, 6 months. I'm like, all right, bro, change something besides the main character standing there, Change the color, change an animation, like something cool. So I dig it. I'm not against.
Yeah. Now I do want to point out, because Jelly and a few other people I've seen post it or whatever in comment and chat here, they say it gives you a very mobile, esque, menu, right? It looks mobile, and I think that's fine though. I don't think they're like something being mobile is a bad thing by any means. But again, I think it would not look mobile if we went like what Joey was saying and went with a little more dynamic with it. So again, I think having that toggle option would be great for the game in that situation.
Yeah, the simplicity portion might be what gives it that mobile feel.
Yep.
But as far as like the little things that you can click on and how smart they are, I think it's like a mobile aesthetic while still being orientated for console or PC. What do you guys think about this screen?
Joey loves it.
This hero screen.
Joey's in love with it. Yeah, you can't have enough countesses on this screen.
I hate them. I can't. Get me out. Now, I like those stats on the right. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Difficulty.
Yeah,
high.
I think any of that sort of stuff. I see a lot of MOBAs doing that recently. I think it's good just to, because it helps people understand like this is kind of what you're getting into, right? Obviously, they're never perfect. Like, what ends up happening in the game is not necessarily like what is expected of the character before you go in. So like obviously those things are a little bit weird, but like any of that sort of stuff where it's like pretty simple to do is like good enough to give people an idea of like how the character is designed and what you're supposed to do before you even go in. Like that's good. And then like lore stuff as well. Like yes,
Bro.
I like lore.
Yeah.
Give more lore.
Odo points it out. The fact that they're teasing lore here is a huge thing for a lot of the community.
But I say I don't care about lore at all. But that's a cool little description. You wanna read that out loud for us? They're reading all fancy narrator like.
I'll do my best. I don't even know what the fuck that word means. I don't even know how to say it. When a provincial. Okay. When a provincial noblewoman jumped from a high bridge and hit the water far below, she was found beneath the depths by a dark spirit and emerged the next morning with cold skin and strange hunger. She returned to the court that had ended her life and became its sinister ruler as the Countess.
Well, that's so fucking dark when you sit there and read it out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a medieval times shit, bro. Like, she got thrown off a bridge, or technically she jumped.
She jumped.
Even worse.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's dark, bro. I dig it. I like that they're not afraid to be like, hey, this is a pretty dark character. She's a fucking vampire, like blood sucking. Right. Like, you know what? Let's make it a little dark. Let's have fun with it. I like that.
Can I ask a question?
So,
what is subheader 1?
Subheader, that's like the line that's basically that's the text that's supposed to get changed that didn't. Like okay. the header would have been Countess. Subheader 1, then subheader 2, subheader 3. That one didn't get changed. So
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't know. And that's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking that, but I'm like, wait, I don't know, like what? Maybe that's supposed to be something like because I see durability, I see mobility, I see ability power. Like, what else is there?
Ooh, Pelican Bri brings up an interesting point. In the background, if you look closely, this is like a vampire's skull on the left-hand side with some flowers nearby, almost looking like blood here towards the middle. Also,
okay, yeah,
I like that. That's the backgrounds are more oriented to the hero on the screen. So that'd be super cool if they have a good variety of those and it changes per character. Kind of dynamic, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as we can see, we can see that there's characters that you own. It says focus on the one that you have clicked, of course. And then if you don't own it, it goes to kind of like this little grayed out. I almost want a little bit more distinction between those.
I don't know if that's what that means, because you look at the very top, it says all, right? So yeah. Focus means this is the one we're highlighted, right? Correct. This is because we're looking at all of them. So that's all of them. I'm thinking...
You don't notice that the bottom right one is just out of focus?
The bottom right one is just out of focus. Maybe so that's what that one is. Okay, that one's you don't own. Yeah. Okay. I guess I see what you're saying now.
Could be visual.
But I was thinking when you say, I thought you meant focus and then defaults. I thought you were trying to say that those ones weren't owned. I'm like, wait a minute. No, that's not what I'm thinking.
No, my bad. But I did you guys notice that they're kind of introducing some weird alternative text to things. Like maybe part of the lore. Like we see the word all at the opposite end. You see these 3 little characters that I don't know what in the world that means. And then we see heroes, and directly below the word heroes, again, 5 characters in whatever language that is. Maybe they're introducing their own little language, and it's like, hey, this is us decoding it. Maybe we're gonna see writings on the wall, and we're gonna have to decipher that shit on the map or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, are you familiar with some of the original Paragon lore?
Absolutely not.
No, I need Mangoose here to tell me the answers to that question.
Well, essentially they're fighting on the Agora, like some planet, like it's essentially just some like foreign alien planet that everyone's trying to reach to. It's supposed to whether like grant you whether wish kind of thing. So it's that kind of thing. And of course, there was an alien civilization that lived there before that, and the Astros, or I don't know the technical stuff, but it makes sense because that's sort of like kind of like the cultural background where this war is taking place and whatnot. Okay. So that's
where
probably
is
some of the ancient.
Joey, yours truly, Agora lore video? I need to see that shit.
No, I mean, maybe we get closer, we can see, but I'm not sure if they're gonna how much of the original lore they're gonna keep or what stuff they're gonna change, because there was a good amount of lore back in Paragon. It just wasn't really fleshed out. It got to that point before the game shut down. But I mean, they're kind of using the basic framework, like Omega City is Omega Studio. That's literally like one of the planets opening around Ogoa. So they're keeping some of the location names and all that consistent.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's cool. Again, I'm not too big into lore, but I know that there's people. Obvious example here, Joey. I know there's people that love the lore and the explanation behind everything, and even just that dark little twist that we just read as far as counters goes, like, makes characters a little bit more identifiable, more relatable, makes people want to play the game more. So I understand the appeal.
I do have to ask, if you roll back a little bit, when she first drops her drone, or she's getting ready to drop her drone, is her drone in the game currently is her AoE that big? Because that looks huge. When you see the AoE, like it looks huge when it's covering that whole area. Like I don't remember being that big.
I think it might just look big because of here.
That looks about right. The drone has a really big AoE.
Yeah, I'm with Feppy. I think it's just because of the fact that usually there's terrain stopping the drone, so you never really see the full circle. Even in the middle of mid, there's like the elevation that kind of throws it off.
The terrain doesn't drop. It doesn't stop it. You can see it going up on the terrain there in the background by steel. The back left, you see it going up on that terrain. Terrain doesn't stop it.
All right. Guess I'm going to have to pull up the game in the background and just test it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like it's that big of an AoE. Like I'm wondering, is that going to be like, is that kind of a buff that we're going to see when they introduce this next patch or whenever that happens, that skin happens? Like Pinzo says, yeah, it's that big.
Yeah, it's very big.
I don't know.
The thing is like when you're fighting in this, like the tight corridors, right? Like, because you're fighting in tight corridors, a lot of times you don't really ever get to see the actual like size of the drones. Like, unless you're playing in lane, you really don't get to see it very often because all the jungle is just so tight that usually it just doesn't get that much range and value.
I feel like once it's down, the AoE on the ground also isn't that predominant. It's not as solid as it could be. Like you drop a gadget dome, you can easily tell that there's a gadget dome on the field, right? You drop the drone, right. Sometimes unless you see the pulse or unless you actually see the drone itself, you're in the AoE with the drone behind you, and out of nowhere you just get shot. You're like, what the fuck did I just get shot from? And you turn around, there's a drone standing there. So it's not as obvious as it could be. So maybe that's why.
No, Feppy, that was before the last patch, before they started working on TTK. That was when Bella could get one-shot tanks.
Yeah.
Bro, don't even get me started on it. I guess we'll hit it eventually. The whole what's going on right now with tanks and mages and stuff. But yeah, anything else y'all want to hit before we go?
Again, well, hero acquisition. That's something you can't hear because you're watching. When you watch this, RGSA says something that they're working on different ways that you can acquire. Because right now, when you first came out, if you bought whatever patch you bought or whatever thing you bought, right, of the tier of the game, you got the first 25 heroes for free, right? Well, now we're already Phase was our 25th hero, so every hero from here on out, we're all going to have to purchase or play for or whatever to unlock. So they said that hero acquisition, they're working on, like, there's going to be different ways to do it. What do you guys think that these ways are going to be?
I'll throw a wild idea out there. I'll say, since we don't see a different currency on the top right, just based off of that, I'm going to assume maybe a level-oriented hero unlock. Like every 10 levels, you get to unlock a new hero of your choosing. Just speculating. Okay. I don't even know if that would even be something that might happen. We're just speculating because we don't see any other currency on the new UI. What are your guys' ideas?
I hope. I would be sad if this happens because I'm not a big fan of it personally, but I wouldn't be too surprised if it was oriented to like battle passes. I don't know if you guys have seen anything related to Overwatch 2 at all with what they do with their hero releases, where they have the hero locked in the battle pass. You have to play a certain amount of games in order to unlock it. And then once you if you don't unlock it during the battle pass, you just have to like complete a couple of like quests essentially after the season ends in order to unlock the hero instead of doing the battle pass. I wouldn't.
The free battle pass or the premium?
You can get it all entirely free.
Okay. So the hero's part of the free battle pass, probably towards the beginning tiers.
Well, the thing is that it's a lot harder to do that in MOBAs because, part of the monetization for MOBAs is getting access to new heroes, right? And purchasing new heroes. So I'm not sure how they would do that if they would do that type of system. That's a system that's like pretty popular right now. It could just be something as simple as, purchase X hero for platinum, done. And then the battle passes are what give you platinum so that if you actually level up and do decent, like a free battle pass, you can actually unlock heroes that way. That's what I hope happens. But there's definitely a lot of options, a lot of ways they can do it. So I'm excited to hear what they're actually going to do.
Joey?
What do you guys think about them potentially doing a battle pass oriented way of progression? Because I personally kind of despise battle passes just because I see what it did to Halo Infinite or whatever. I've seen what it did over. Overwatch is fine, but I just don't like having everything kind of locked behind a battle pass. And if I don't play this game or a certain amount of time, there's a skin or there's a certain unlock, I won't be able to really get as easily anymore. Kind of.
If you're wanting to make money, I think the best way to do it is a season pass. Right. And for those of you who don't know the difference between a battle pass and a season pass, when you buy the battle pass, you have to grind and play all the way through and get all your levels to unlock everything that's in the battle pass. And a season pass, when you pay for that, as the season progresses, things will become available.
Yeah, in September, you're going to get this specific skin unlocked. You know that.
Right.
I would say Call of Duty probably made the season pass as popular as it is, because you would buy the season pass and be like, hey, 2 months from now you get a new zombie map, then the month after you get a new multiplayer map. You get what I'm saying? So
you're still making money, people are still buying into it, right?
And
but you know that you're going to still get what you paid for. You're not buying into it and hoping that you're able to play enough, right? I'm a guy, I work at least 40 hours a week. It's hard for me. And then I'm a family man too. So it's hard for me to come home and grind a game and make sure I get to level 100 on my battle pass and make sure I get that one thing. Cause that's what they're going to hold the best product at level 100. That's going to be the best thing to get. And if you don't get there, you don't get there. Yeah. You just threw your money away on it, so I think a season pass is the best thing they could do in that situation. But I also think that the UI is not finished yet, and I think there is going to be an alternate currency, because right now there is not an alternate currency. There's literally only platinum. I think there is going to be a a currency that you can buy with cash, and there's a play the game currency that you get. And I think there's going to be a way to do it that way. That's what I think is going to happen
too. Because it's just really common in all the multiplayer games. There's a pay currency and there's a currency you just get from just playing the game like passively over time. So I'm hoping to do something like that, and that's a way for kind of like the new heroes, because League of Legends, that's the most straightforward way to unlock new legends. You just get the blue incense and just use that to unlock them over time.
Right. Real quick, Joker says, I hope there is a cross progression by linking Steam account / Epic account to PlayStation account. They did say in the video that there is going to be cross progression across all of the platforms. So
right.
You will get that
for everybody.
Yep. That's I was going to type it to him. I was like, wait, let me make that announcement so everybody who is watching is not be able to be here live.
Bro, if they don't give me, because they have enhanced ping wheel here, if they don't give me an Apex ping wheel, I'm gonna be so salty. Like I want an Apex pin wheel. Like if I'm looking somewhere, I want to be able to click and just kind of drag along the wheel and be like, attack, retreat, like, you know, just like extremely simple commands by just looking and pressing ping. I'm assuming that's what they mean, right?
May season, because on the roadmap they were saying dynamic ping system improvements. That sounds pretty dynamic. What you talk about, Vindu.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, and they already kind of have it to where the command changes depending on what you ping. Like if you ping your minion, it'll say defend your minion. If you ping the enemy, it'll say attack. So they already got a little bit of a dynamic ping wheel going on. But being able to actually kind of choose on the fly, like, bro, I'll be honest, I want to be able to just spam retreat on the floor in front of my teammate so he sees that shit in front of him, as opposed to just pinging everybody on the team in general, and that shit being on the corner of his screen, because I know this motherfucker ain't looking. I know he's not paying attention. I want to be able to put that shit on that same minion he's focusing on. Ping, 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 retreat, motherfucker. Be like, okay, I want to see that.
Right. No, I want that. I've been referencing the Apex ping system as well. I think it's going to be great in that situation. So we need something like that would be definitely better for the game here. Fappy?
Yeah, I mean, ping system would be really nice. I think that there's not really much more to talk about. You guys covered it well.
All right. Revamped loading screen. This is going to be nice because the loading screen right now is just the screen that you load into. Right now it's phase, right? So that's your loading screen into a game. I think that loading screen is something like I remember with Fault had. It shows you the teams that you're playing against. You know, it shows your team, shows their team. This is another thing that you could have, that you could get the borders. You know, you unlock borders to show that you're, whatever this mastery of this character, you know, stuff like that. You can show that off, but it also just kind of gives you it allows you to start brainstorming your builds and stuff like that while you're going into the game. Like you can see, all right, this is the team we're going against. All right, this is probably my solo laner. All right, if I'm going against this person, I'm going to want to start building this first, you know? And you can start brainstorming that way. Just kind of, it's a strategy game, and that's what we're about. So the more information you get going into it, the better off. So that revamped loading screen, if it's something like that, I would love to see that.
Peppy, have you got a chance? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I would say I would kill for like builds in the shop, like being able to put like set up builds already in the shop. I literally have a notepad on my computer for all my builds. I'd much rather just have it in the game. And then when I'm going into a game, I can see, all right, here's these 10 people on both teams. I need this build this game. Like, let's say they have like four physical characters. I want my physically defensive phase build, right? Like I want to be able to just click it, done. If I want to make adjustments in game, sure, but like I want to be able to like have a general idea like going into the game already. And like I think that that's what they could be doing with this revamped loading screen, is like something like that, right? Where they have like 5 heroes on each side, and like in the middle they've got like, you know, the map and or like the shop, and you can just like start setting up your stuff before the game even begins.
Have you played Legends of Runeterra, Peppy?
No.
Okay, so Legends of Runeterra is basically a Riot card game, League of Legends card game, right? But their build system on there is absolutely amazing. That everyone like this game should adopt 100%. What they do is when you have a build set, you can share based off of a custom code that it creates. And that same custom code can then be posted on a website, like all these Ometa.city, Predecessor.pro websites. And simultaneously, when you can literally just copy paste that into the game, bam, there goes the build. I don't have to sit here and remake the build that Feppy put up on his website. I can literally just copy paste. I'm going to call it the Feppy build. Bam, saved, ready to use.
That would be sick. I'd love that.
The only issue you're going to have in that situation and just be hard to access would be the PlayStation guys or the Xbox guys, the console guys, we'll say, would be to get that and to copy and paste into their systems. But
hey man, with that console typing, we know console typing is horrible. They might literally have to be there and boop, 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 boop,
that's what I'm saying. But
Y.
access to the website,
Boop, 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 X.
that's what I'm saying. Access to the website would be the hardest part to get to that. That's what I'm saying. Like, so to get that, to grab it, bring it over, copy paste, you'd have to type it. And that's the thing is you have to type it in, and that's what would suck. That would be the one downfall with that for the console players.
Short codes. Do like a 10-digit code. Save them. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. It just kind of, segueing into that public API. I think those websites, Ometa.city and Predecessor.pro, there could be others, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they've been pretty useful for the community. I've seen a lot of community engagements as far as people posting builds. I've seen, some people saying, oh, I prefer the way this one looks. I prefer the way that one looks. Oh, this one has more data. I'm a diamond on that one, so I'm going to pick that one to show people. Like, whatever. I think it's actually been pretty good for the community.
Oh, I think it's huge. It got me back to playing the game and enjoying the game. I literally took time away because the API wasn't there, and I felt like I had nothing I was playing for. So I love it.
I think it's a really great addition as well too.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're giving the community information about your game, like more the better. Like the people that don't really care about the information aren't going to look for it, but the people that care about the information want as much as you can give them. Give them everything you can possibly give them. Like the more you can give, the happier we will be. Especially like pro players. Like pro players will just. I mean, there's some pro players that will just dive into the data, just dive so deep into data and just look at it for hours. Like I'm one of those players. I'll just look at data and just like figure things out for multiple hours at a time. Like if I had complete access to that data, I'd be so happy.
I'm going to need you to coach me and to know what data I'm looking for, because I don't know. To me, I look like I'm looking at a different language. I'm like, okay, it's getting better for that I can tell, So
first part to stare at, subheader 1.
Yeah.
Yo,
Get better with subheader 1. That's obviously low.
Yeah.
What your deal is there.
So what do we think about the let me ask Joey directly here. Joey and Feppy, because you're both are extremely fucking competitive, as chill back as Joey might seem. What do you guys think about this new kind of hybrid rank mode that they're gonna start leaning in eventually, leading up to console
about competitive
release?
nights? Oh, you're talking about the rank solo duo.
The rank solo duo and how they're kind of trying to work that out.
Yeah, so how they're like starting with limited like night sessions, not like a permanent kind of game mode.
Yeah,
it's sort of interesting because like usually for like most games out there like Overwatch, League of Legends, as competitive those games can be, usually the majority player base will always be kind of like the casual players in a sense. And so with them like ramping up to potentially giving this game out to console players are kind of known to be more majority kind of casual players, not necessarily the most competitive players. So you can bring in casual players from the console crowd getting into the game, and then right now we're focusing more on the competitive side for solo duo. So that's the sort of thing that kind of stuck out to me a little bit, because right now I feel like it's really great. We're kind of focusing on the competitive side of the game, but one of my wish lists from the previous Predcast was I'm really hoping we get stuff like mastery systems, more like actual permanent forms of progression in the game, more like reasons for casual players to keep playing the game once they reach a certain point in MMR. Because once you reach a certain point in MMR, it becomes really unfun for casual players. I just run across stack players against all the time and run across very competitive players all the time. And right now I'm just trying to play more casually, but I can't really do that. And there's no systems in place that allow me to play the game casually. I guess I'm trying to go at.
Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, we got competitive nights coming up, which is Thursday, not tomorrow, but Thursday. That's the first rendition of that. And then they're going to come out. They're coming out with a ranked solo duo here, and that's all going to be they're really just kind of testing the waters to see how many, the player base and how it's going to affect the queues, right? They don't want to basically make it to where nobody can queue up in either mode, so they got to figure out how it's going to be well in there. But I agree with you. We're doing all this stuff for the competitive people, but we're not doing much for the casuals, and in that situation of to make them want to continue playing. So I think they needed to kind of mix it up a little bit. I agree with you there, Joey.
Yeah, because the big thing is, you guys remember the current, what was the highest peak amount of players, how many players we got the first month of Predecessor, and how it's slowly dwindled down to the more dedicated players, the more casual players are I'll come back to the game once it's more ready kind of thing, right? So the one thing I'm a little worried about is when they release it to the console, they're going to get a lot of casual players trying out the game. They're going to have a ton of fun, but there's no mastery system, no system in place that makes it really fun for them to play the game long term. I think we're going to lose a lot of those console players during early access.
So I want to ask Febby a question. Given the fact that console seems to be their focus, I do agree that they have a little bit of a split focus, but I want to focus a little bit more on this competitive side, rank mode side. So we see a lot of tournaments going on. We see competitive nights and a rank mode of the sorts being slowly introduced. Pepe, do you think it's wise of them to do competitive nights and this little exclusive rank mode, as opposed to just kind of doing one at a time? Or what do you think about that?
Okay. First of all, that's a complicated question. Okay.
Sorry,
I think it's good that there's solo duo. One of the things that pretty much killed Unite for a lot of players, Pokemon Unite for a lot of players, was the fact that there's still to this day not a solo duo mode. So you can pretty regularly, as just, especially because it's a mobile game, right? You load up into the game as a mobile player, you're like, oh, I want to play for 10 minutes. Let me load in. And then you encounter a top 505 stack when you're solo queuing, you just get absolutely shit on, right? That's not fun. So the fact that they're coming out immediately and saying, we're not going to let that happen, we're going to do solo duo from the start, fantastic. This is really good. I'm very happy about that. I'm a little confused about the point of competitive nights. I don't understand why there's a specific competitive night for 5 stacks, as opposed to just a 5 stacking ranked mode. So I'd imagine that these competitive nights sometime along the way are going to have an actual reason to participate in them, where you go out of your way to actually form a team and participate in them, right? Maybe I don't know, maybe you get platinum for doing really well, right? That could be something that they could do, right? Incentivize players to play in 5 stacks and try and promote the competitive side of things to reward them by getting them access to cool stuff, right?
Right.
So I'm a little confused as to why.
You think it might be just a sweaty 5 stacks, sweat with your friends for a couple hours, and then all right, let's not encourage that for too long.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is why wouldn't you just make that just a 5v5 ranked mode? Just have 2 modes. You have solo duo and the 5v5s. I don't understand why.
I think it's because
understand why, right? That's a good question.
I think it's because they're going to have them at completely different times. Let's say if you have those 3 modes up, right? Let's just say the 2 modes, right? Solo duo, ranked, and competitive nights, which is 5 stacks, right? And then you have our casual queue. If you have all of those open at the exact same time, our low player base is going to make the queue times go insanely high, and it's not going to be good. But if we bring in competitive nights on Thursday nights, and this is gonna be the chance for the 5 stacks to come in and play. All right, the casual time is gonna drop a little bit, but our 5 stacks are gonna be over here. So now the people who are playing casual aren't gonna go see they're not gonna see a bunch of the 5 stacks because they're already over here competitive nights. So that kind of gives the casual a break, and they can actually play the game. And Joey doesn't have to worry about being so sweaty because he can actually play casual. And then another night, let's say Saturday night, we're going to do the solo duo ranked. And now you can play this solo duo ranked mode, which now, again, you're not taking too much away from your casual player base. Your casual queues are still high or still at a good low number, but then you're also getting people to play that. Now, people who are playing competitive nights, they're only teaming up with a team because I just want to be competitive, right? But I would rather play just solo. So they can also have a chance to play, hey, I'm going to do a solo duo here and do ranked here instead. That's how I understand it, why it makes sense to me.
I thought in competitive nights you could only go in as a permanent 5 stack, right? Just to confirm.
Correct.
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, it's only 5 versus 5, so that's all it is.
So I think you're both kind of dancing around the same idea and subject, because it's just the naming of it is competitive nights, but it really does feel like this is ranked team, ranked 5v5s for the week, and then you're going to have your ranked solo duo for the week. It has its own independent MMR, they already stated. Like, and if your 5 stack has won 3 times, you go up against another 5 stack that has won 3 times. Knowing them, they'll probably release some sort of leaderboard, top 10 teams or some shit like that, right?
Right.
I'm with you. I don't know why they wouldn't just call it rank mode 5v5. I do guess competitive nights has a better ring to it. That lets you know it's like, hey, we got to get together that night and fucking duke it out. Ranked mode almost feels like it's all available always. Less exclusivity.
I think that's fair. I do agree that like having a 5v5 mode and a 2v2 mode for ranked tends to create issues, tends to separate the player base a lot. So maybe this is their solution, right? Is like, we understand that like one of the best ways to kill your MOBA is to separate all the ranked queues. Like that's one of the best and fastest way to kill your MOBA if your MOBA is not like top dog, right? So maybe this is just their solution. It's just like, look, we get it. We understand that like we can't separate our queues, but also, we still want to provide that sort of drive, right, every once in a while. But it's unfortunate though, because I don't like the fact that competitive nights are like only on specific nights. Like as far as I'm aware, like this one is on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
I won't be around on Thursday at all, so I won't be able to play or participate, right? So it kind of sucks that like you just can't participate sometimes because it's just only on specific days. So it just feels like a weird it feels like a weird like thing to put in MOBAs, like a time gated ranked mode for a MOBA. It just feels so weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they're only doing that just to try to see what happens to the matchmaking, because right now the biggest concern is we have a small player base. What happens if we introduce a new game mode? Are we going to find games on either of those game modes at all? Is the question. So I think they're sort of testing to see how the matchmaking works, if people are actually still finding games for that time. If there's problems with people getting into both competitive nights and casual game modes, then it's something that maybe we're not ready for a different game mode. And that's something they want to test to make sure before they fully commit to a more permanent second game mode, is what I imagine. Because I'd love to see like the AOM or JAWS or whatever like casual game mode. It's just I think right now we're not ready for it in terms of like player based count. Maybe it'll be much better once we get the console crowd, but that's just a different story. If we're gonna have something like that ready for the console players once they come in.
Agreed. It comes down to player base being so small. If the player base wasn't so small, I think we could really if the player base
separate
was
casual
what the player,
and competitive.
Yeah. if we were able to have the player base that we initially started out as with the early access, I think we could really bring it out. Like, here we go. You could have them both going, and be fine, and we could start growing that way. But as of right now, I think we're in a tough spot. We're not able to do that.
And I don't think they have to go that far before, we could hit other subjects. I think if they hit 5 to 10K, those are good, healthy numbers to be able to, introduce other game modes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really comes down to how big of a concert crowd we can draw in for the first wave and early access, 100%. I think they're probably doing that at the start of season 3 or after season 2, right? It would make sense to recruit concert players halfway through season 2, and they have to play catch-up game on the Battle Pass theme, right?
Good.
That's a fair point. They more than likely might aim towards the beginning of a full season.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe season 3, or maybe season 3 they finally announce, hey, free-to-play release will be at the beginning of season 4, but now they got a whole season to start slowly marketing, ramping up and everything, right? So maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. So while we're talking about ranked, we do have an announcement to make. We're going to help a little bit of the community here. Strangers helping out Choice Plays and PCC. PCC, Predecessor Competitive Championship. I don't know what PCC stands for, to be 100% honest with you. But that's going on Saturday, April 29th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can see it live on Twitch. Again, I would need a little more information to know exactly where this is going to be live on Twitch.
Championship Circuit.
Prime Championship Circuit. My bad. Forgive me. All right. Thank you,
Thank you, Lance.
Appreciate that. But so is there a PCC Twitch page? Is this going to be on Choice Plays Twitch page? Like, where's this going to be at? So if anybody's got that information, so we can get that to them.
They have a Twitch page, they said in the chat.
Can I link it? Can you DM? Can you whisper it to me, Lance? You won't be able to link it right there, but if you DM it to me, I can link it.
You guys have any predictions of how this tournament is going to go this Saturday?
Bronze Army all day. I gotta rep the homies, bro.
So you're gonna be repping for the team against Pinzo's team?
Well,
you're gonna be like, question.
Well, here's the thing. I got homies throughout, right? Like I see Empty's team up there and everything. Like, much love, but Bronze Army's my team. I gotta vote. I gotta vote for the home team. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I can't side against an enemy team. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm just teasing you, man.
Oh, bro, what are your predictions? What do you see here?
I think 100%. The semifinals for the top bracket? I think that's gonna be a really juicy game to see, because Team Emu, Team Multi are known to be some of the top teams right now, and then I could be for the finals, could be in the semifinals. So that's gonna be kind of a spicy semifinal game right there, 100%.
Pepe's over here like, I wish I was in that bitch, bro.
The struggles of having to take a break. Oh, I just want to play.
I feel you, bro.
All right, so that is Prime Championship Circuit. You can find that at twitch.tv/Prime Championship Circuit. So you can watch it live there. Saturday, April 29th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I, as a football fan, I'm going to have to go the underdog here and just go prime time. They're going to win it all, because who doesn't vote for Deion Sanders? That's always the win. And you should agree with that, too. He went to Florida State. Come on, now.
Bro, I don't care about Florida State. What do you mean?
You care about any Florida team. If any Florida team would beat Michigan, you'd be like, see, I told you, Florida, man.
No, bro, nobody roots for the Dolphins. I don't care what part of Florida you're from. There are some Florida teams that are just like, we don't associate with those at all, bro. Oh, man. Now, I want to pull up a picture here of the actual roadmap so we can see it in picture form and we can kind of discuss it, right?
Yeah.
Now,
what are your thoughts, real quick? Sorry, I know you can bring that up. But what are your thoughts about the roadmap only being to level 35? Last roadmap was level 50. This one's level 35.
I think they realize how many people didn't make it to level 50.
I think so too. But there also is an arrow, like pointing that there could be more.
Fair. maybe some continuation. Maybe it could be content related. It could be currency. Maybe not. Who knows? To be determined. I really, really don't like the question mark on the heroes. I understand it.
I do.
Window, I see it, and then my heart just skip a beat. I'm like on the verge of devastation right here, because you guys know me. I love my boy Quan. I saw the weather poll face Greystone Quan. I'm like, okay, season 2 heroes right there, original hero. There we go, easy. Now look at this. Okay, I see face. I see original hero.
One off.
Mid laner. Not too offlaners. Not. What?
Yeah.
So
I like the question marks though. I like the question marks because I like the surprise. Like I've said, like, ooh, we don't know. We now because if you let's say mid laner is Morgesh. Let's say off laner is Greystone, right? Now all of a sudden, anybody who doesn't like Morgesh is not excited for May. Anybody who wanted Kwong is not excited for June. If we leave the question marks there, you now still have hype building up to those months because now we got to figure out who it is.
I don't hype. I only have stress building up.
Yeah, bro. Yo, but actually, before we go too deep into the months, let's talk about April. Let's talk about FaZe. We got to support me in the chat here, bro.
Right?
So let's hit up on FaZe real quick. First of all, the actual release, the character, how it came out. What did you think, Peppy?
Without the bugs, like we can ignore bugs for now.
There's
been some bugs, but I love the design of the character, like the way it plays. I've said this several times. It is probably my favorite ever support hero.
Predecessor. FaZe specialized.
It's by far the most interesting to me and one of the more unique like types of heroes.
Essence
I love
catalog.
Leather. I know a lot of people hate it. I love it. It's so much fun, you know, when your ADC gets dove and then you just yoink them to safety and you just watch as the enemy team rages as they're all being, you know, just railed into the ground by the ADC. I love it. It makes me so happy. I'm having so much fun playing this hero. I mean, I literally came back to play this hero. Like I've been gone for a month. I should not be back playing right now. I'm still way too busy. I came back specifically because of this hero.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I gotta pull this up here.
I was gonna say, so while he looks that up, have you tried some of those spicy combos like moon boots on FaZe, like jumping up, pulling somebody midair, and all that shit?
Yeah, Galaxy Greaves is funny. I don't think you should be able to pull while you're really high in the air like that, but it's really funny to just jump up in the air and just pull people out of Fang Pit. Like somebody like your Rampage dives in, tries to steal it. You're just like, oh, you didn't get it? Oh, okay, I'll just moon boots and pull you out. Like,
or that's a thing.
But I mean, that's a unique hero interaction right there, right? I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
It adds verticality, believe it or not, like in some way, right?
So this is how long this was in the making. Peppy was in one of our shows, all right, and said he wanted to come on the show. And then literally DM'd me saying I wasn't joking. And this was January 24th, right? Then the 25th, and he says, if you're up to suggestions, I'd like to come on the show after FaZe is released. Yeah. So that was January 25th. I hit him up. I said on the 19th, I said, okay, FaZe is out. Are you ready? And he's like, you remembered this? I'm like, yeah, like, let's go. Let's get you in here. So
very excited for this.
This has been in the works of getting Feppy in here for FaZe. So I knew Feppy was huge on FaZe, and it was all right, let's get him in here. And I didn't think that he was that huge on it. I just think it was one of the best supports he's ever played in any game that he's played. But that's actually good information. That's surprising to me because I don't play a lot of MOBAs. I played Paragon, I played Fault, I played Paragon Nova Prime, I played Predecessor. I've touched Smite and I've touched League of Legends. Other than that, I wouldn't even say that I played them necessarily. But yeah, so that's crazy.
Well, what I like about it so much is that a lot of supports tend to have kits that are designed to entirely just stop what the enemy is doing, right? So easy example is Muriel. Like, all Muriel does is just stops the enemy from doing damage. That's like 90% of the character is just like, oh, you're doing damage, well, now you're not, right? That's what the character does, right? It's kind of the same thing with Narbash. With like, outside of his speed boost, he's kind of just like, oh, you're running at my carry, let me stun you and then press the heal button, right? Like, FaZe is one of those characters is like, it's a support, but it also has stuff like the beam, which is a really good engage. But this is one of the reasons why I like playing Decker so much as well, is like, it's a dynamic support character and it makes the game very interesting to me.
Somebody in chat
I like it.
brought up an interesting point, Alsassa. I'll kind of retwist what he said here to kind of focus on Predecessor. I was very intrigued that they kept her so original, except the passive, right? Like the passive scaling attack speed. But besides that, she's pretty much the phase that we know. Mm-hmm. Nothing much has been really changed. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, she doesn't. Her link doesn't heal and mana regen.
Okay.
Yeah.
True. Minus the healing. So they took phase and they made her a little bit less OP. But it's still phase. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
She's still nutty, bro. I'm very Peppy. How do you feel about the fact that she wasn't necessarily changed as an overall kit? They just changed the passive, basically.
I personally don't care. Why fix something that isn't broken? It's the easiest way to put it, right? Obviously, the character needed to be nerfed a bit from Paragon. I've watched some like professional Paragon. FaZe has picked every game. Like, I understand that. The character was really, really strong in Paragon, so I'm glad they tuned it down a little bit in terms of like that sort of potential. But the kit in and of itself is very fun, and I don't like, if a character is fun, I don't really see a reason to be making a bunch of fundamental changes to the character.
Minimum brings up a great point in the chat also. So FaZe, like, CC is strong across the board. FaZe right now, she's good at healing. She's good at maybe single target focus, right? But whenever a team fight breaks out and it's a 5v5, you're very limited, especially with those long cooldowns, as to what you can do as FaZe. You're like, I got my carry out. Slow. You're fucked. My carry's out. Good luck.
Yeah.
So I want to, before we get too far ahead, because I want to point out, so Lestron, you commented on in chat there, Windu, but Lestron, what Feppy was saying about moon boots and polling, Lestron says it's the same moon boots with Gideon as you can portal. You use your moon boots, then you can portal, and then that way enemies can't use your portal. I think people who are hating on these situations need to take a step back and look and understand that these situations are utilizing that Z axis that we've been begging for, right? Like, so don't ask for the game to change that and say that shouldn't be there. Like, let's find other things that we could do to add that Z axis option there as well. So the fact that we're able to use that Z axis with some of this stuff is awesome. Like, that I'll play with Gideon. I never even thought about it, but that makes sense and that's awesome. I mean, again, now you're kind of throwing by using moon boots with Gideon, but it is what it is.
I don't think I've seen a moon boots Gideon, to be honest with you, but that's pretty spicy.
But, I mean, it's there, all right. But then again, the moon boots with FaZe makes sense, and it gives more spicy gameplay. And I think it should be there. We shouldn't
complain about it. Almost encourage more variety.
Exactly. There we go. Thank you. Yeah. As far as what Celso was saying about fault and changing, again, we said this a couple episodes ago. I don't think we should be changing the kit. So there might be some changes we'll make here and there, like things that just need to get changed. Again, like FaZe not having heal and mana regen with her link, because that would be, just the carry can just has sustain and lane like crazy.
Some changes are needed.
Right, some changes are needed, like some minor small tweaks, but I think we should save the kit changes that you're wanting, like these, like I want to be a different, abilities, save that for the new heroes. There's no reason to sit here and change this, and then because now all of a sudden, what do you do now? When you take this you take a link off of phase and you get rid of this ability. Well, now later on down the line, when we got no more abilities to use, let's grab the link. Hero. We're gonna put a link on somebody else. Oh, that was just a phase ability. That's all that was. That's nothing new. And then you're gonna complain because we put it on somebody else. It's like just use it here, and then let's keep a new IP for the new IP.
But be mindful too. We're running into that. Or we're using this scenario because there's still a very low amount of characters. You go to League of Legends, the moment a new character drops, it's like, oh, you know what? He's got the Blitz Crank pull, but then he's got the Thresh. Okay, I see what he did there. And then, oh, you know what? Okay, I see that little Talon, little ultimate kind of sneak in that they did. But after a while, there's going to be so much variety in the game that you're just wondering what mix they're going to come up with because they've already kind of ran its course.
Right.
The verticality here is going to be dope. I still am waiting for a character that can dig a tunnel and a character that can climb a wall. Something. That shit would be dope as fuck. Complicated, but Now, I want to go ahead and hit the internal testing period. You want to kind of talk a little bit about that?
I don't have that pulled up, but sure. I mean, internal testing, pretty much what they're doing is they're just they're asking for people anybody who's interested that wants to be an internal tester, apply. I didn't apply because I don't have the time for it. So I don't know exactly what the form looks like, but I'm assuming the form is going to be asking you available time availabilities or whatever and all stuff of that, and what you are, what games you play, what roles you play and stuff of that. You're going to need to be a little more diverse. You can't just be a bronze that I only play ADC, right? That's not going to be very beneficial for them as testers, right? You can be a bronze, but you need to be, hey, I'm a bronze Phil, or I'm a bronze and I play these 3 roles. You could, that way you can go in as a tester and you can give a little more information to them. I would assume that they're going to want bronze, silvers, everybody around there, like all different, a plethora of skill, because you don't want to just have, hey, all the masters are testing the game. Well, it works great for testers. It works great for the masters, but then all of a sudden now we get bronzers playing these people. And it's like, this hero doesn't work, or whatever, shit like that. So, but if you're interested in becoming a tester for Predecessor and you're going to get a little more heads up of what's coming up. You want a little more, be more in the know. Click the link and apply. I mean, I think it's the more testers we have, the better chance of bugs not getting implemented into the game. Like what Feppy was saying with FaZe having some bugs.
You want to say something?
This is the chance. Like, if this is now the time, like we're at a point where they're kind of comfortable with opening up internal testing to a bit more of the public, right? So this is really the chance to start like getting in and start really influencing the game. Like up until now, there's kind of been like a really, really tight knit, like sort of community in terms of testing, right? Whoever they've had in there, we don't really know, right? But now that they're opening it up to a lot more people, like this is the time where, if we want to shape this game and make this game the best that we can, we need to get as many people as we can into these internal testing like sessions and really grind out the hours and, give the feedback that the developers need to make this game as good as they can, right? Like, I can't stress enough how important this type of stuff is. And if you love the game, this is the thing. This is the best way you can help. Fair.
Now, I want to bring up a question to you guys, because I actually had a content creator hit me up with this question, right? And I'll go ahead and put the ad here on the screen. The whole, we need you, very military draft side. Yeah. Be like, I see what you did there, Uncle Sam.
I love this promo art. It's so good.
It's so funny, bro. I dig it.
It's so good.
Especially because she's military, or she's what, police or whatever.
She's part of the police. That's true.
Yeah, she's so she's
OPD police or whatever the hell it was called. Yeah.
Yep.
So
it was Meta Police Department.
I don't know.
I think that's what it was.
Let me pose this question to you guys. I had a content creator reach out to me, and he said, "I want to help this game grow. Should I apply as a tester?" I know what I told him. I want to hear your guys' responses to that question, because I feel like people would have that. I want to help the game grow. Should I be a tester?
I don't.
It's the question like, are you saying, do we coach him to apply or discourage him? Is that the question?
Well, no. What would you do? What would you tell them in that situation?
Would you discourage to apply and do something else, or would you say, hey, go ahead and apply? You can help the game grow in that sense.
I mean, if the person is really motivated and has a passion to help the game out in terms of like internal testing, then yeah, 100% go for it. Because passionate testers is what will help drive the game, kind of thing, getting more feedback and all that kind of stuff.
I guess I don't understand how it's a question. If your statement is, I want to help this game grow,
should I apply?
My question is, why would you not apply?
Interesting. Okay, so you think it's an obvious thing to apply if you want to help.
That's what you mean. Right now, your only way to help the game grow is to make content and report feedback, right? And whether it be on bugs or just feedback in general, right? If you become a tester, you just streamline that situation, and you can still make content and still send other feedback. So I don't understand that. To me, I don't understand how it's a question. It's more of a question like, why would you not why would you not apply?
I got you, and I'll elaborate on that once we hear Pepe's kind of thought process on that one. I want to help the game grow. Should I be a tester?
So testing doesn't necessarily help the game grow. You can do as much testing and as much, helping internally as you want, but that doesn't inherently help the game grow and get bigger. It helps set the game up for success, which is just as important, if not more important, right, than helping the game grow. But it's not in and of itself helping the game grow, right? There has to be two sides, right? There has to be the people that are specifically trying to make the game as good as possible, right? And then there has to be the other side of it, where there has to be like the content creators that are trying to push the game and go, hey, look at all this good stuff that the internal testers just did. Look at how good the game is, right? So it's kind of like one of those things where like it's a symbiotic relationship. You can't really have one without the other, right? But if you're a content creator and you want to help shape the game, and you have the time, I don't see why not. I don't really see a reason to, say, oh, well, internal testing isn't going to help, because it obviously is, right? But you also have to have, as Pelican Brian in the chat literally just said, you have to have both a front end and a back end, right? You can't just have a back end and expect to have a good game.
See, and I'm glad that you elaborated it like that. Thank you, because that's kind of sort of what I was going to answer back towards Bearded, because that's basically what I told the creator. I was like, so you got to think of it this way. If you are a content creator and you have the extra time to test, give feedback, and not make content on anything that you just did for the last 2 hours, go for it. If you have that freedom, that ability, go for it. There's a reason why me and Bearded aren't in testing anymore, because we don't have that freedom. We use our spare time to try and create content, right? But if you are a content creator and you want to help the game grow, personally, fuck testing. Make awesome videos for Instagram. Make awesome videos for YouTube. Make awesome videos on TikTok. Help promote #MOBA, just generic, try and spread the word that this game is out there. Try to be one of the ones that draws people in, specifically as a content creator. Because even though there is benefit to the front end and benefit to the back end, I think if somebody is a content creator, your assets are 100% on the front end. Try to be a face of the company. Try to be the people drawing in. Just market yourself a little bit more. Expand your reaches a little bit. How many content creators haven't hit up their 10 closest friends and said, play this game with me? You know what I mean? How many of us came from playing a game like Call of Duty or Pokemon Unite or just another random game that we never even played any Paragon game before until we just decided to try it one day because a homie of ours said, hey, try this shit out. It's kind of cool. Or because we came across it on the PlayStation Store like Bearded, right?
Right.
All it takes is that one moment. But yeah, I think they need testers. If you have variety and knowledge, 100% go for testing. They're going to need it. The more of a unique point of view that you can provide, whether it be on the casual side, whether it be on the competitive side, they're going to appreciate all points of views. And be mindful of your PC. You got a low-end PC? Don't worry. They probably need your data, quite frankly. You got a high-end PC? They probably need your data too. Who knows if that top of the line 4090 that only like 2% of people can afford, who knows if there's a bug with the 4090 that they need to address. Like they need testers by all means. But just be mindful that you can't make content off of what you're testing. So know what route you're going to go.
And on that note, I also want to make this little PSA announcement. If you are a streamer or content creator, or, making YouTube content or TikTok content, whatever, and you do have feedback, post it. If there's anything that this development team wants, it's feedback. It's literally in every blog post they make. They use the word feedback. I don't know how many times. I think they might actually have like stock in the word feedback because they use it so much because they're getting a kickback. They love it. They want feedback, so give them the feedback. Report the bugs. That's something I need to get better at myself. Like I'll be sitting there playing the game and I'll think about it like, oh, well, this is an issue. And then I just forget to make a clip of it or whatever, and then I forget to push it. So I need to get better on myself as well. But if you're there, you're making the content, you're doing that stuff, use that as feedback. Even if you're dropping it in the feedback thing for the Discord, give them that information. That's how the game's going to get better that way as a content creator.
All right. So enough of the Uncle Sam. Come join us. We choose you sort of vibe. What do you in the planned features? I know the planned features goes into a little bit more detail. I'm going to put them up on the screen here for us. Joey, out of that list, what specifically pops out to you that you want? Like, hey, focus on this. Give me that first.
So for the planned features right now, well, I guess the big thing I want to see is. Sorry, I just did a little bit. There's a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
I guess just a like little bit. I like to see. If anything, if you gotta make a new UI, make it look sexy. That's all I'm gonna say. Make it. If you got put all that effort and reworking all the UI, make it like as good as you can, kind of thing. Because nothing's bad than like a kind of met UI, and then that's the new met UI we're gonna be stuck with for a little bit, right? So, I think in terms of one thing that I want to see them do really solid on. New UI, because it's not just the new menu UI. It's talking about the leaderboard UI, the dynamic web kind of load screen UI, like all that stuff. I want to see them done really good for this like whole revamp, whatnot.
Interesting. Peppy, what are you trying to have them like fast track?
I mean, by far the most important thing in my eyes, besides ranked, is the replay system. Replay system is extremely important for tournaments, and if you want this game, to be successful, MOBAs aren't the type of game where you just have a casual scene or only have a casual scene and expect the game to last, right? So getting that replay system to a state where we can use it for any kind of tournament stuff and also for looking back at our games and like a little bit more visually appealing, more flushed out. Yeah, well, and as a competitive player, like using the replay system for VOD reviewing, I would so much rather use that than my pre-recorded game from specifically my perspective, right? Like I would so much rather just be able to look at the entirety of the game and its context from a replay. And we've already got a little bit of that starting now, but I think that is other than ranked mode, because ranked mode's kind of obvious as a competitive player, right? It's like replay system is like right up there for me.
So I do want to point out, and I understand what you're saying, and I know it obviously says beta as well, but this planned features, all this is like they already put that replay system is already in the game.
Yeah,
they already have it. Now there might be some tweaks and stuff here as they're working on it. Like there might be some issues that we could find and bugs that might get fixed. But like the replay system we currently have. That's what they're talking about planned features. So when you're asking for replay system, we already have that in the game already. Like I guess fixing the bugs on it, that might be a little more into it, but that's already there.
It could be
I'm
smoother with
hoping. I'm hoping
scoreboards.
for more and better. Is my point. We obviously already have like a baseline, but
Right. I
there's
just
too
don't
much
think.
to
I
talk
don't
about
think.
with that.
Again, when we're talking about playing features in this, what we see on this screen here, that's already in the game. So what am I excited to look forward to? Scoreboard rework. That's what I'm more excited because I want to hold tab, and I want to be able to see my opponent right across from me. I don't want to have to go through the team like, oh, okay, there he is. All right. Now, all right, there's how much CS he has. All right, now I know he's leading in this, whatever, you know.
Yeah, being able to see that goal diff would be pretty massive.
Yeah.
Like before you
match up with the role in the opposing team. Yeah, 100%.
Before you decide to dive into that 1v1, just kind of glance real quick. 1,500 goal behind. Yeah, hold up. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I've done that plenty of times because I'm like, then after I died, I'm like, well, okay, what happened there? And I'm like, oh, okay, that's what happened there.
He's got half an item on me. Fuck. Okay. I see that life steal. Shit. All right.
Yeah.
I guess 5% does matter. Shit. Okay.
So that scoreboard rework, I think, is the biggest thing. If I wasn't going to say the scoreboard rework, I would say the dynamic ping system improvements. That's what the two things I'm really excited for on this. That's as a game, though, right? I think there's other things that's not as game in here that I'm excited for. And that's like the more skins and profile icons. I think just having that stuff in the game, like just kind of giving that little stuff that you can flex, you know, like, hey, look at this skin I got, you know, I think that would be great to have.
Joey?
So that's my top three.
Heard.
Are you saying my name?
Yeah. Well, what
Say my name.
Well, actually, how about this? Let me ask you guys this. So, because we already kind of got all three of you. I personally would say bans and swaps is the biggest, specifically for jungle, because I absolutely hate like going AFK like a dumbass, coming back, I'm jungle, and then out of nowhere I got somebody in chat that's like, nah, I'm Kalari jungle, but they were carry mainly. And now they're trying to be Kalari jungle with no smite and shit like that, right?
Swaps are gonna be very good, yeah.
I need those, bro. And I do like bans. Don't get me wrong. Even if it's just normal draft, non-ranked, like I'm a guy that even if it's on the casual side, having a ban would be interesting because it helps promote that competitive mentality. So then when they go into ranked, they're already kind of used to it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As opposed to not being a thing at all, just blind pick the whole time. And then they go to ranked and they're like, what the fuck is this? We're picking. Okay. Like they're picking, like they're banning is like, fuck, I only play this character. What the fuck am I going to do now? I'm a one trick.
Yeah.
Try to avoid all that.
Well, the thing that I hate the most as a support player is when I'm first pick. I hate it so much because your support most of the time you're picking based on what your team and the enemy team has, and I'm like, I don't know what the enemy team has. Let me just pick FaZe, and then they go, oh, okay, we'll just run Feng Mao and Kalari and like
Becker.
Rampage support, and I'm just like, fuck. So I hope that the swap's getting pretty soon too, because I don't like first picking as support, and I know that like first picking as support is like pretty troll.
How would you guys feel about maybe implementing something like I can't with them? How would you guys feel about maybe implementing something like Smite does? The way Smite does it is the first two people in your lobby are the most experienced people. First pick is the best player in your team. Second pick is the second best player in your team. The next three randomize, so nobody knows who's worst.
What happened if the best player is the offlane player? Because that's like a huge count matchup lane, and you making that person pick first all the time. That kind of feels a little bad for the offlane main.
Okay, fair, but maybe you're the best player as an offlane on your team, but the best player on their team is a support, right? So there's a chance you're going up against somebody that's lesser qualified than you, and you picking first was a way to even it out, the match. Maybe.
No, it's definitely an interesting idea. I'm just trying to remember how League of Legends does it, because I think when you do ranked mode in League of Legends, I think it's always randomized to order, right? Oh, I mean,
As
people
far as I
like
can
what
tell.
people do in Wink in League of Legends is people will pick champions for other people and just do a swap once all 5 are picked. So instead of like the offlane picking first, he can pick the ADC first, and then last
And
pick
then
can
swap
pick
characters.
yeah. So that's it would be really nice if we get swaps because that can help for pick prior and whatnot.
But that only
Yeah.
comes down if we have a proper draft to where
Yeah.
no mirror matches, right? Because if you can mirror match, pick prio doesn't really mean too much. It's just like, all right, so who wants to try and play fake out for the next 30 seconds, basically?
Yeah. So it's brought up in chat between Choice and Feppy here, talking about swaps. And right now, with the way the game works, if you're jungle, you're the only one that has the hunt item, which is the smite item. And there's no way you can't just like, all right, hey, I'll take jungle from you and I'll pick a jungle character. You're not going to have a smite item unless you have the jungle role. So there would have to be a role swap as well to kind of help with that situation and to give that smite item to somebody else if you're doing something like that.
I think that would just be solved by having a chat in the role selection screen.
That would be
Yes,
huge.
I was
That
about
would be
to
huge.
say. I was about to
would
say the
be
one thing
huge.
that's not on this plan features list is chat on role select.
Yes, it's so needed, bro.
I hate
It's
that.
so needed.
It's so annoying. It is such a small thing too. Like you wouldn't think that like something that
But-
small would make such a big difference, but it does.
You say it's not on here, but it could be included with the new improved UI.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it
100%.
probably
Maybe.
is right, but
Maybe.
I mean, I'm looking at this like whole list: Scope, rework, new proof UI, new dynamic load screen. They're like really like focused on reworking all the UI, all the stuff we see throughout
Yeah.
all portions of the game. So I imagine they'll kind of also include a lot of other stuff in the package.
That's
Right, 'cause
fair.
if you
Because
go
even
to-
ping system is part of the UI, technically.
Yeah,
But if you go to the other part where it was like listing off of things, it said new menu or something like that, right? And then like now this says new improved UI. Like that says nothing about the menu. It just says new improved UI. So it's kind of like more like it's almost like it's all encompassing more of that UI situation. And when I think UI, I'm thinking like all of your menu UI. Like I'm not thinking ping system, ping system. Yes, it's the game UI. It's part of your HUD situation is why I would say that. I guess that it's part interactive, more dynamic HUD, I guess in a sense. But yeah, I would think that's how I read it. I could be wrong, but he went on that screen real quick. We'll go back eventually. But what are you guys' thoughts when we'll get back to it when it comes up that screen? The levels, right? We already went through. We already named off the things that we want off of the planned for the season 2 roadmap. But when you're leveling up, the things that you get, right? As you get to level 5, level 10, I think it's every 5 levels you get something. You unlock something, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys' thoughts on the things that we're getting in the roadmap?
So like just the rewards.
Yeah, the rewards. Yep. What are you guys' thoughts on the rewards that we're getting?
I think it's pretty decent because before it was like every 10 levels we get something, but now we're getting something every 5 levels for the most part. I think that's pretty cool. I'm also liking how we're starting to get more like actual unique cosmetics because you see like there's a jump pad PBX, there's a recall PBX. So that just kind of shows that they're really starting to now kind of push forward the whole cool cosmetics and just being able to personally customize your whole experience. And I mean, that's really good to see because I think before they can launch the game fully free to play, you want a solid kind of cosmetic monetization system going on, being able people to be like, yeah, I can have this really cool effect, that kind of thing, that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of looking at this roadmap and kind of like the impressions I'm getting from a builder in FFP is I'm kind of getting the impression that a lot of the features that's kind of being planned, it's a lot of like the quality of life stuff that we really need. Because I think season 1 was all the major missing features kind of thing for the most part. I think we're still missing some features kind of thing, right? But I think most of the planned features is the quality of life stuff, right? And with how the updates been going like 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, what do you think is going to happen once we reach season 2 and start season 3? Because season 3 will start on version 1.0, right? That's kind of like the pattern we're going with.
Not necessarily.
I mean, maybe. We literally could end up on 0.37 for all we know, you know?
Right. And that middle number doesn't always mean that it's going to be that situation. So I get what you're saying, but I mean, I'm
assuming 1.0 would be full release.
1.0 would be full, and yeah, that's the game. Like, this is the game. Then you're going to get renditions from there on. 1.01, 1.0, whatever, and then a next bigger situation from there. Like, the balance patches will be like the 0.1. A big change, another hero release would be a 1.101 or 1.1.0 in that situation. So Windu, while you stepped away, I asked the guys here their thoughts on the rewards that we get from when we level up, right? So we get level 10, you get an exclusive EA Season 2 profile icon, and so on and so forth. I asked them what their thoughts on that. And I do think it's funny that Choice Play just realized that Feppy is actually live on the Predcast as he's actually having a conversation with. He's been having a conversation with Feppy like in chat the whole time. But yeah, so I think that's hilarious. So Choice, love you, man. That's great.
Us support players, we're stealthy. Please don't notice us.
Right.
I can't.
Well, hold on. You brought that up, but I the perfect time, and I meant to ask it earlier when we were talking about FaZe. Kershey brought up, I believe it was Kershey, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you read it, Feppy, in the feedback about FaZe not getting any, like, her whole point is to stay back, right? Mm-hmm. And like, not only is she back, she's the back line, right? She stays behind the ADC and then was able to pull them to safety, right? So when you're back that far, you're not close enough to really do any damage or do much of anything to help get the assist off of anything. And that's what a support, their main income is, the assist. So if you're not close enough, you're not close enough to get an assist off of it, like, because I think right now the blind doesn't do anything to give you an assist. So if you use the blind off yours ADC and it blinds the opponent ADC, they kill the ADC, you don't get an assist off that, right? So if you're in team fights in a situation, so I think that I believe that's what I was reading as a description from somebody that's a support main. I don't play support. I couldn't tell you. That's what I'm guessing. I'm believing what's being said.
From what I've seen, like, it does feel a bit like my gold economy is a bit down compared to previous patches, but that might also just be because they nerfed the support crest. So I'm not really sure. But
then they nerfed the support gold drip, but they also nerfed the gold. Well, they buffed, I guess, in a sense, the support crest and how much it costs to unlock. So, like, it's easier for you to unlock because
it's the same amount of procs to unlock. It's just worth less gold.
Okay,
it's still the same amount of procs. Yeah,
gotcha. All right, misunderstood. All right, so yeah. So I think that's something that needs to get looked at with FaZe, because I think you'd still need to benefit assists. If you're doing something to help your ADC or your teammate, your team doesn't have to be an ADC. If you're doing something to help your teammate, just because but your whole point is to stay out of that range. There's a
lot of times where, like, most of the time what I'm doing is I'm not actually actively fighting the target that we're trying to kill. I'm usually like fighting somebody else off that's trying to stop my ADC from doing what they want to do. So, like, a lot of the times I'll play like a side angle where, like, the enemy flanker is, and I'll just be boxing the enemy flanker while my ADC is like pumping damage with my ult, right? So, like, a lot of times, like, I won't like get assist value from that, but I don't really mind that much, honestly. Like, that's kind of the quirk of the hero, right? Is that the hero gets to play from further ranges. So the downside is that because you're playing from further ranges, you don't get as much gold. Like, I think that's fine. I don't really see much of an issue with that.
Okay. There we go.
Fair. And I mean, we pretty much just about covered about everything wanted to talk about.
No, I want your guys' opinions on exclusive Omega hero profile icon.
Oh, that's right. I absolutely do not like that part of the let's just say a third of
level
the
20 and level
at
30
this point. Yeah, I don't like that we're getting icons cool, but I already got some icons last season. I would be okay with like one other icon because I participated this season, maybe. Not necessarily multiple icons to just fill the spots.
Right.
Ascension hero recolor, is that to say the original hero? Or just a hero from the Ascension, like including phase? One of them, you'll get a recolor.
I don't know. I'm guessing it's going to be the new hero. That's what I'm guessing.
Well, because then we see at 30 again, Ascension hero recolor.
Right.
So would that be?
I guess it could be any of them. It could be all four of them. Well, one of the four, for all I know, because they're all Ascension heroes, technically.
And jump pad VFX and recall VFX.
I like that.
That's cool because like in Smite, different recalls you can buy different ones, have cool little like sound animations and stuff. That's a good way to monetize. I'm okay with that.
Customization, all about it. Well, they're not monetizing technically. This is a free thing, right? Yeah, right now this is a free thing. So this is cool. I mean, but again, this is all free. I get that, but like, I just think I don't know. I'm just not a fan of recolors. I guess is my biggest thing. You know, I guess that's my biggest issue here. Is
like I still find the Kira recolor to be disappointing. The other skin's kind of cool, the Jack Sparrow looking one.
Well,
steampunk
but now if they came out with the Kira Cardinal skin was her main skin, you would have loved the recolor just because it's purple.
But I wouldn't have loved the main skin because of the color difference between the gun and her skin.
Well, okay, but that's just a different situation there. But yeah,
I just think it was a letdown because of that mismatch specifically. If the overall skin were just gray and red, yeah, sure, it would have been cool, especially because of the color change. But I think it's rather normal to include a recolor towards the beginning of a character. But I like what they did with FaZe. How they included technically a different skin with tiny little changes, and it's a totally different color scheme. Right? Like, it doesn't have to be a crazy, drastically a new skin. But give it a little bit of a spice, you know?
Yeah, start showing off some of your spicy. Think right here. Like, right here would be a good spot for the Bellica skin that they teased, right? We know it's a recolor. It's kind of a recolor, but you're giving us some more little visual effects. Like, this would be some of that stuff you can kind of drip in here. Like, all right, let's do a little bit here and there type things. Like, and then your big skins, like the ones that were like, oh my gosh, this T4 skin is fucking off the charts. That's when you start bringing in, that's where you're monetized with that stuff as well. I just think the recolor is just a little bit like, it's not very appeasing. But jump pad, visual effects, recall, visual effects, that's the biggest thing. Those are things. Those to me are the biggest thing. Now, we also I want to speculate here. I know we're getting close to our time. This meta original hero, it's a shield, right? Is what we're guessing. Am I wrong with anybody thinking that? You guys think that's a shield?
Definitely a shield, bro.
I think the shield. Yeah.
Unless they throw it out there and that's some random ass knee pad or some random shit like that. Like, that's a shield, bro. Yeah. Which is confusing because we got Greystone and Terra, and we got Ascension, which usually Greystone's ultimate was to ascend into the sky and then come back down.
Right.
But it's a new original hero. What the fuck is happening? I don't know.
So this is a meta. So that also, I think I'm a little, help Joey here not be so stressed. Because we're getting in July, we're getting a shield based hero. I would think that in June, the offlaner there would be Quang because he doesn't have a shield to kind of help, make a little more diversity in that situation.
Ooh,
so I think that should help.
Let me counter and give Joey more stress.
No.
What if they go for 2 shield-based heroes and it's going to be this sort of night-themed event?
It's already Ascension.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What if they do a Terra, just complete curveball, with the new hero, both with shields, and now you got 2 knights duking it out in solo? And then FaZe is random, because you saw how Shinbi was random last season. Shinbi had nothing to do with the theme last season.
Right.
So it's very possible FaZe could be random as hell. Hey, we did it because y'all wanted it. That's it. What if they do that?
Well, that's where I think the mid laner is the random one in this situation, because technically, I mean, by technicality, if we say it is Morgash the mid laner, what mid laners are left?
Thanks.
Iggy and Scorch, Sinks, Waze.
So, all right, so it could be Iggy, right? Zinx was, I thought Zinx was an offlaner.
Well, see, she's always been the weird one. She's for like the mage drain thing.
We don't know what
Iggy and Scorch would be the one that nothing about Iggy and Scorch is ascending. They're too short to ascend. Nothing about them is ascending, right? Now with Morgash, her ultimate it ascends up in the sky, then comes down on you. Like that's kind of like the thing there. So like that would be the one that fits.
Maybe.
So I would think Iggy would be the one that's the off ball in that situation. Because even Quang or Quang, as our boy Mangus would say,
he ults towards the sword.
All of his abilities are heaven based, right? Heavenly this, heaven that, whatever, like. So that is more like type, ascension style things, right? So he fits that as well as well as Greystone. I'm just this hero. Yes, we're looking at Shield. Are we thinking tank? Are we thinking offlane tank? Are we thinking jungle tank? What are we thinking? Because we got a support, a mid laner, and off laner. Would you think more of a jungle?
It doesn't necessarily tank, because you see those different like fancy characters where they use a shield and sword or spear kind of thing. It could be like a fighter. Because I mean, we can't.
We don't know the size of that shield.
Yeah,
that's
it could be small or big. Yeah,
true.
So.
Yeah,
but definitely some kind of fighter. That's the question I got. It can't be like. It'd be weird to have a mid laner that has a shield, like unless they do something really whack with that one, right? I think there's some kind of fighter, take some melee kind of fighter, right? So
correct me if I'm wrong. Paragon back in the day, they didn't officially release it, but they had a Murdock Bellica, like a police force inspired, super big tank mage in the works. Where he was
I know you're talking about. You're talking about the guy that's
brother.
Yeah, he had like a ballista sort of vibe, right? Like
you're talking about the guy that looks like a space marine kind of dude.
Yeah. And he was apparently massive with like this giant. I don't know. The only thing I can think of is a ballista, like fucking old school shit, like this cannon looking thing. And he was supposed to be like a tank sort of vibe with also AOE's. It'd be kind of cool to see an ability-based tank that's made for the mid lane. Maybe they're just throwing everybody the fuck off. Maybe the ultimate is pulling out a shield, and that's all we know. No?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that in the lore of what was supposed to happen, and if Mango's here, he would help me with this. I believe it was supposed to be Murdock's brother. In that situation of the screenshot you would see of that, but I believe I'll look it up and see what I can figure out and bring it up next episode.
Should we look into at all the fact that there's like an emerald jewel or like a jade jewel or something there in the middle? You think that has anything to do with anything?
I mean, the shield overall, I like the design of it. I have like the two, like the offset, little spikes that come out the side of it. The emerald jewel, kind of adds a little flair to it. I like that.
I think the most you can get from it is sort of like a medieval sort-ish character, because you look at all the different characters we have people like from like this high-tech city like Bellica, Murdock, but then all of a sudden we have heroes like Kalos, who goes back to the more medieval times, and I feel like this shield gives me that more medieval kind of vibe. Not really a high-tech kind of character, more like kind of sword magic kind of like vibe, I guess I'm trying to say.
So somebody in the chat pointed out that it looks like Greystone's old, like original design sheet. That's why I thought, what if they're gonna throw some random, like, hey, we're at it. This is the season of knights and shit, right? And like, surprise, Sereth is a mid laner or some random bullshit like that.
What if?
Like,
what if they go a little like Lord of the Rings style, and you got Greystone, then you got Whitestone?
I hate him. I hate him. Somebody get Bearded the Grey out of here, bro. That's his best time.
Whatever it ends up being, I'm excited that these next this 4-hero lineup might all end up being characters that are supports.
Okay, fair.
Because Morigesh, right? Morigesh was a support in Paragon, was played as a support in Paragon a little bit in competitive play. It was so play as
a lot of poking,
right?
for sure.
As a support.
Yes.
I can see Kwong.
I would hate that.
Kwong was
Sorry.
sort of support back then.
I can see Kwong being a support.
Kwong, at least he's got the CC.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming that this original character is like probably some sort of like tanky-ish sort of character. So it's basically a support, right? I mean, this is just one season. Like, I'm gonna be honest. This is just
this
4
one's
straight
for me.
supports
Y'all
in a
got
row.
carries.
We're
This
good.
one's mine.
I'm gonna be here for a while. Like, thanks for giving me all the supports. I appreciate it.
I hope that recall animation is like, who needs a support? I'm kidding.
Why
So,
didn't you
with
heal
that
me?
though? You said with bringing up carries, like with this, we got phase. Obviously, we're getting a mid laner, we're getting off laner, and we're getting an original hero. So that means we're still not getting Twin Blast, and Twin Blast has been a face through all of these para zombies, and even Paragon, was a main face for all of these, right? Yeah. So it's like, is it weird that we're not getting Twin Blast yet? Like,
Take as long
you're the
as-
ADC main here.
Take as long as you want, as long as you don't give me that Gatling gun ultimate bullshit, bro. As
That's
long
the
as I don't
ultimate
see
I
no
want.
clack, bullshit.
That's the ultimate I want. Like,
I mean, if they're trying to, if they're playing us to market, right? They're playing us to market going close into release. Like,
might
what
say
better
one for
way to
later.
market than go, hey, new hero being released at the same time as the game launches, Twin Blast, everyone gets it for free. Right? Like, I would not be surprised if they did that sort of thing, right? Because like Twin Blast is like pretty iconic for Paragon. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that sort of thing.
don't call it a new hero then, because you would irk a lot of people off by calling it a new hero.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? It's like a new release, right? Like, I wouldn't be too surprised if they did something along those lines.
I could see that. Here you get this hero automatically unlocked on release. Twin Blast makes his comeback with full release. You could fully release his Gatling guns in this game.
Okay. All right. Definitely coming in. Anyway, so I appreciate everybody that has been tuning in. If you made it to this point, please drop a GG.
Hold up. PlayStation. We didn't even talk about that. They did have it. You can put
You can
Predecessor
pre-order
on your wish list. You can put it on your wish list on your PlayStation Store right now. Like, that is huge news. Like, I don't know how we skipped over that. My bad. I know we're gonna go a little bit longer here, but like, that's actually pretty huge. Like, that to me, and the words they've said, it's like their goal is to have console release by end of Q4 here.
Yeah, I specifically. So what was it? Pinzo shared. It's like console this year, and I was like, they never said this year anywhere in that post, bro. I'm just letting you know. And then immediately RGSA's comments, he's like, this year, bro. And I'm like, well, there you go. All right, shit. Okay.
Yep. Well, I wasn't even talking about, was that under Pinzo's stream or?
It was under Pinzo's Twitter. Like, it was just a random thing, and then I retweeted it after. But if you weren't there to catch that specific tweet, it's just you never saw that official confirmation, I guess.
I think if you watch the YouTube video again and you listen to RGSA's, he talks about having it, he says something about by end of the year or something like that. Like those terms come like that, like something around like that, similar to that term comes up, and it makes you so okay. Like, that's what we're trying to get console by end of Q4. It's the way I'm guessing it, right? And it's already on the wish list. Like, now, I don't know. I've never actually put anything on a wish list on PlayStation. All right. I've had PlayStation since literally PlayStation 1, right? The original, not even PlayStation 1, PlayStation. I've had PlayStation, PS2, PS3, PS4. I've had all of them, and I've never put anything on a wish list. So I don't know what that means if something is on a wish list, like how long you're looking, like what is the longest standing wish list game that's been
Years.
there? Hey, years? Okay.
Years.
That's
Wish
what I
list
want.
just
I've never
means
even seen
whenever
it.
they post a notification, like, hey, new beta this week, or the game gets released this day, you get notified. Basically,
That's
anything
good
that has to
information.
do with access.
That's
But I've seen games that have been like on the wish list is like, yo, we just had a beta add it to your wish list. Next thing you know, a year and a half passes by, almost 2 years. It's like, well, still wish listed. Be like, all right. Then like 2-3 years later, all right, guys, finally, the only one I can think of is The Forest. I had The Forest on wish list for like 2 years minimum, bro. From when like the concept first got introduced to people to when it actually got released. So it's possible, and that's why I commented on Pinzo's tweet. I was like, never said this here. But then RDSAs came through and just kind of shut that shit down and be like, this fucking year. So super cool.
Yeah. So Big Doink does say the way he phrased it sounded like it was the end of season 2 to the end of the year with by the way he spoke. So, but Joey, what are your thoughts? I mean, I know you play on console, you play on PC, but what are your thoughts on the PlayStation being wishlisted?
No, I think it's really solid. I think a while back they did say it's coming to Xbox too, kind of thing. So I imagine I don't know how to do with Xbox if there's like a wish list system and whatnot on the side, but I think people saw the game. It's coming to Xbox too. Like it's coming to both consoles, kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's just PlayStation has the feature for a wish list kind of thing right now. But it's good to hear that there is that development being made to have it on console soon. 100%.
Peppy, are you an Xbox guy?
I've never really been much of a console player, other than my Switch.
All right, so
more
you're our
platforms
Jedi guy then. Gotcha.
More platforms than merrier. Like
more platforms, exactly.
I mean, the only downside of having stuff on platforms is sometimes it takes longer to get patches out because you have to verify patches. That's my only concern.
Yeah,
but
that's a fair point. You got to get them all synced up.
It's very rare that adding a game to the main two consoles, right? Xbox, PlayStation, adding the game to the main two consoles, like. It's very rare that that's a downside for your game. So good.
Right.
It makes me happy. I mean, especially because the game's people are already playing on controller, like on PC. Like, why not just let them play on console? Like, sure.
Well, that's I want that great segue here to continue in the situation. Me and Windu, we've been gaming with a game that's a closed beta out right now, X Defiant. Okay. And a lot of these people, so Predecessor makes a tweet saying, hey, we're pushing for console. You can add it to your wish list. And you could finally go to a Predecessor tweet and your first 5 comments aren't console when, right? It was nice to actually see that. I actually made that comment. I literally made that comment almost word for word, that comment. I was happy to finally see that. And then you also had people saying, Predecessor makes this console announcement, but then you still people crying about Xbox. I didn't see people crying about Xbox. I saw people asking questions about Xbox. Well, hey, what about Xbox? Hey, what about this? Hey, what about that? No word about Xbox, right? They're asking questions there, right? You could tell when somebody's like, when people just continue doing console that's when they're continuing crying. But when you literally just, hey, when you're asked a question like, hey, we know about PlayStation, what about Xbox? That's a legitimate question. That's not crying. So I think that was a little bit overstepping the situation.
I have a question. Confirmed console this year. That doesn't mean permanently. That easily could just mean a beta and then it goes back into hiding.
True. And that kind of goes on what I'm saying. When we were playing X Defiant, right? There was a bug that happened. All right. Well, it was a pretty decent bug that was stopping progression, right? And you couldn't progress. And the whole point of this game is you're playing with these guns and you want to progress these guns, you get to unlock their different attachments. Well, you can't progress. So now also what's going on? So they made a quick patch, but they could only make the quick patch for PC. For you, hey, everything's unlocked. You can play with it.
Weird, bro.
Right? So
PC got it day one, PlayStation
Xbox,
4 got it the day after, and then Xbox got it like 2 days after.
And that's the whole point. All these people who want console right now, just give us console. You don't understand. We're literally in early access beta right now that we're trying to push these patches to fix all these bugs. Now, if we're trying to do these for all these different platforms, it's going to slow that progression even further. But if we get it ironed out and make it a better PC game right now, then we can transport that. What's the word I'm looking for? What is it? When you push it to console, whatever that word is, you can transport it to console even smoother, right?
Okay.
That's not the word I'm looking for,
Push
but
it.
anyways, Push it, yeah. Well, either way, it doesn't matter. So that situation, there's a word that devs have been using. Port it. You can port it to console, smoother when it's when you're not having as many issues, right? But then once it's ported to console, then we're gonna have, like what Feppy was saying, the slower patches, because you have to work with Sony, you got to work with Microsoft, and you got to work with Epic, and you got to work with Steam, and be like, okay, we want to push a patch, and then that window's got to work together with all of those, and you'd be all right, patch is being pushed. So then, because Epic can only do patches during this time and Sony can only do patches during this time, we got to make those windows match up. All right, push the patch, now everything's good to go. So it might get delayed a week because it only worked in this window.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still stuck on the fact that all these people crying console when are now happy because we got console news. But now I'm wondering if it's just for the fact that it's going to come to console, but in a limited variety, or if it's just going to be full blast. Like, everybody gets it. It's on console. Have fun. Because that shit came to PC, but how long were we playing for like a weekend at a time with 6 months in between for years? Years like that. But it was on PC. We could play it. Is there like clever marketing jargon going on there? Or will it actually
back in Paragon, once they got to console, it stayed on console and things. I don't see them. I can see them just following a similar pattern. Once they feel like they can put this on console, there's no reason to make it limited unless you're trying to test something out before you want to make a full commitment to it.
Maybe paid early access on console?
Yeah, no, I think that's what they... Yeah, no, they did that for Paragon, and they did this.
I got Paragon free. I don't know. I was like, is that a thing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Before it was free for like 6 to 8 months. It was actually paid early access. You had to buy a code. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens when we get there, right?
So bringing that up. All right. So Big Doink literally just sent this to me. He said, "Hey, check your whispers." All right. So we made this post on Reddit, and it says, "I understand it's still under development and fine tuning, and all this is just food for thought kind of thing. If possible, would you pay for early access on console, potentially without crossplay?" So that's a potential thing, right? And then the 3 answers were yes, no, and yes only if they have crossplay. 149 people said yes, 66 people said no, and 154 people said yes only if it's crossplay. So crossplay is a big deal. And by paying into early access, you right there is huge for Ometa to see that people, even console players, will buy into that, will give you, monetize this game for you with paid early access, and also give you console testers if you went into a paid early access. Thank you, Big Doink. So
I would be okay paying for it, but then again, I've also been out of that console game for a good minute. I feel like console people that are used to free Paragon are gonna rage and cry the most if that were to happen. Because like you said, the majority of them,
I'm used to free Paragon. I'm used to free Paragon. I paid for Fault, and I'm paid for this. So I mean, in a sense,
yeah, you also paid for a computer. They're still waiting on the PlayStation 4, waiting for the free game.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if they wanted that bad and you waited for not paid for a computer, then paying $30 to $60 is still the cheapest route, and you get to play the game sooner. So, or wait until it's full release. It coming out as a paid early access does not mean that it's not going to be a free game down the road. You can still wait. If you've already waited this long, you can wait longer. But the people who want to pay, like Big Doink and other people, the 154 people that said that, that's just a Reddit post. That's not everybody. There's a bunch of other people that are willing to pay for this game. Like, I would have been one of them if I knew it was coming to console like soon, like not 3 years later. I would have waited. I built it because I built the PC only because I knew it wasn't coming to console anytime soon.
Fair. But yeah, so again, we're pretty past.
We're way over. My bad.
You're chilling. We're pretty
Great
past
episode,
our usual
though.
time. Yeah, definitely greatly appreciate Fappy being here, and of course, one of the newest official hosts, Joey, as well. But let's do this. We're gonna do our traditional outros. Tell everybody like a little bit of what you got going on, a project that you're working on, where to follow you, your socials, etc. Time to kind of plug in all your stuff. Go for it. Same order that we introduce ourselves, please. Go for it.
Oh, me first again? Nice. Well, first of all, I had a ton of fun, guys. Thanks for letting me on. For those that don't know me, I am Feppy, former professional player for Pokemon Unite. Also played the pro pred for a little bit there. Hoping to get back into it. If you guys want to check out my content, I do streaming at FeppyTTV, and I also have a Twitter at FeppyTTV. Hopefully I can start doing some streaming soon. Been doing a lot of construction work. My parents recently found a new house, so I've been helping with that a ton, which is why I haven't been doing a lot of streaming and content creation recently. But hopefully I can start getting back into that soon.
I see.
Shout out to Feppy for using the purple and yellow lights to represent Windu and myself. So that's awesome. Appreciate that. But no, thanks for coming, man. It was a blast having you on here. I love the fact that you actually jumped into the conversation. We've had some people, and no disrespect to them, people are shy or whatever, but we've had people come on, just kind of like sit there and wait till they're talked to. You jumped right in. Loved it. It was a great conversation.
Anytime.
Joey.
Yeah, it's just here, surely. Like I said, I do content on YouTube and whatnot. I've recently been trying to get into doing file reviews. I actually just did one for one of my viewers, and I have one planned for Build It pretty soon. So you're gonna be seeing some of that file reviews coming out soon. Definitely, over time, I hope to really get better with them. I think I did a really decent job my first one, but now I'm trying to slowly kind of improve over time and trying to see if I can give really solid feedback from time to time to all you guys in the community. So be on the lookout for those videos 100%.
I see. Hey, yo, hold on. Did you send him the video that I was in? That I was all there?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
why
hear
he
a
said
random
he's like,
Windu
your
comment in
ADC
there.
was trash in this game.
Right? I'd be like, oh, he could be doing better if his carry actually helped him. Be like, well, shit.
Yeah. So really this week I got tomorrow is viewer games, but Thursday is my normal stream day, but I am a huge sports fan, if you all didn't know, and Thursday is the beginning of the draft, the NFL draft, so I'm taking Thursday off as streaming just so I can just sit back, relax, and watch the draft, and have a few brewskis watching that. But then we'll be back at it next week. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and if you want to see more of them, you can catch up on the rest of them if you've missed any of them on Windu's channel, and he'll tell you more about that with his outro.
Spicy. Look at that. Leading into the plug. I appreciate you. But yeah, guys, again, I'm Windu. I basically have been pretty much focusing on these predcasts, throw a little bit of gameplay here and there. I'll be honest, this last patch has me heated as a carry main. The fact that I'm shooting wet noodles in the beginning of a match now, I'm so fucking tilted, bro. Granted, needed adjustment. But now I'm like, what the fuck is this, like, Sevarog Rampage meta and all this shit that's going on? Like, oh my god. But overall, really been focusing on, as far as gaming goes, adding a little bit more variety while still consistently doing these podcasts, maybe throwing a clip here and there of Predecessor, while also I've been pushing a Star Wars oriented YouTube channel that I made, where I just did my first ever lightsaber review in there. Super geeky cool shit. If you're into that shit, go check that out. But we appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this week's episode of the Predcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you made it this far, please, wherever you're watching, make sure that you leave a GG down below, just to let everybody know, just so those that are in the club know that you made it this far. But we appreciate you. Make sure you leave a like, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.